Welcome to the Footy Museum and the Footy Museum podcast. I am Maria Van Dyken Lee, and I am here today by myself because my co-host and the co-director of the Footy Museum, Justin Whitty, is on an amazing vacation with his family for Labor Day weekend. So today I have the pleasure of being joined by Beth Smith, who is responsible for several of the Tifos put out by the Los Verdes group, a supporters group of Austin FC. And if you know anything about Austin FC, you know that they have a super strong, super cool, super vibrant, and edgy visual identity that they bring to the table. If you don't know what a Tifo is, you can think of it as a very large mobile mural that fans will hoist in stadiums. So it can span hundreds of feet. It can span entire stadiums, depending. It might just be up for a couple seconds and then taken down like a big curtain, or the entire stadium will do a choreographed motion or present a banner in a really cool way in support of the team or in support of a cultural thing, special ones for players or for like Pride Month or Heritage Months, etc. And they're, as you'll hear, really great ways for supporters to get more involved with their club and their community. All of the visual things that me and Beth talk about in this interview will be linked up. You can find them at thefootymuseum.com or in the show notes. All right, we're here with Beth Smith, who is one of the masterminds behind the Tifos for Austin FC. Is that accurate, Beth?
I mean, I'm one of many, many masterminds. There's a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It seems like it is maybe one of the most collaborative undertakings there is in supporter culture. Is that accurate?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's a lot of planning that goes into it, and, weeks of coordinating and painting, and yeah, it's a lot.
All right, well,
all for like 2 minutes.
I know.
So
I think that's kind of the beauty of it too, but we'll get into that in a sec. First, I was wondering if you could just share a little bit about yourself and your background, and like how you got into design and art, and then how you became a fan of Austin FC.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Cincinnati, and I played soccer since I was like 5. So soccer's always been a huge part of my life. And I also went to fine art school and kind of do like realism, painting, stuff like that, a little illustration. And I moved to Austin about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Which was like right when they're starting their MLS team. And I was a fan of like FC Cincinnati back in Cincinnati.
I was going to ask.
And I'd worked a little bit on theirs. Yeah. They've always had amazing Tifos too. So, but I wasn't like as active with them. But when I came to Austin and just like saw the community that was being built around, all the supporters and everything. And I didn't really know anyone when I moved here. So I'm like, well, I'll just, this will be a good way to meet people and find community. And then just, like I said, I went to school for fine arts. So like me trying to find where I can fit my little art brain in, Tifo is natural for me to kind of get involved in. So,
yeah. Well,
it's been fun.
That's super interesting that you have had the experience of being a part of 2 clubs like that in a really specific and unique way that not a lot of people get to engage with, like football clubs with. And I'm just like really curious about that aspect of your history. Like, so if you had to make a comparison just like between the 2 different supporters groups, I don't know, like where would you even begin?
I mean, Cincinnati's like supporter group is more like, I would say, kind of like the European style with their chants and everything like that, whereas Austin's got more of a Hispanic culture, and that's kind of with their chants and murga and everything. It's like two different worlds really between the 2. But yeah, I mean, Cincinnati, I was a fan since they like joined USL, and I joined the supporter group for them like right away. And they always have like the most amazing Tifos for the Hell is Real derby against Columbus Crew.
Oh,
just like our big rivalry. Yeah, so I love those. But yeah, I mean, Austin's my number one team, I will say.
I was gonna ask. I was gonna say
If they play, yeah, if they play against each other, I will root for Austin.
that's how you really know.
But it is nice having, yeah.
Yeah, you have to like
it's nice having two though.
do a little mental like a bracket for who is your real team this is the team of your heart.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So that's so cool that's how you got to break into like your new city, and moving is scary. So like that's excellent that was there for you. And you said you moved like 2.5 years ago, so that was Austin FC's first season?
Yeah, it was the first season. I moved here like a month before their first game.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I've seen every game, so.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like
I love it. It's
all the
great.
home games in person too, or?
Not in person. This year I've seen like maybe all of them, but 2 in person. But I've definitely watched all of them
Wow.
on TV. I like arrange my schedule around it. So.
Wow, that must be complicated in like wedding season. Those are always the dates.
Don't get married then.
Yeah. Dear beloved couple of mine, just please don't put your wedding on these dates.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. So from an outsider perspective, MLS franchises are always interesting when they pop up because it's like it sometimes seems like something out of nothing, and occasionally they do come from like non-MLS teams combining or like this and that. But we were talking with some guys from the St. Louis City supporters group about kind of their first season and starting up in MLS and what led into that, and how the supporters group was kind of there already. And like, was there a foundation for this group before officially starting in the MLS, or was it kind of something out of nothing?
No, there was. Yeah. I believe like La Murga, which is our band, I think they started maybe 2019. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But and Austin Anthem was like the first supporter group. I know they've been around 10 years. Because we had Austin Bold, and I'm not 100% on all the history of that. I could tell you like FC Cincinnati's history, but like Austin, not so much. But I know that they've been around a while. They were big in like influencing MLS to come here and like going to all the city council meetings and all that stuff.
Okay.
So,
all right. Because I know there was the Crew was going to make a move, or they were kind of threatening to make a move to Austin for a while, and that kind of did that get the ball rolling in Austin after that fell through their own franchise?
I mean, I think it was kind of the ball was rolling before that anyway. And they're really trying to get something here for a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, that whole situation, made Columbus Crew hate us, which is
I'm
cool.
Sure.
But whatever.
Yeah. A rivalry is always fun.
Yeah.
But I wonder, I mean, to me, there's like Columbus Crew has its own thing going on visually, and the thing to me about Austin that's so fantastic is that instantaneously when you look at something by you guys, by Austin FC or by Los Verdes or La Murga, that like whose team it belongs to, like it's affiliated with, what team it's about. Like totally. It's a split second, like, yes, that visual identity, that's Austin FC. And if another franchise came in, like the Crew, who, I don't know, it's not anything like it, really.
No.
And I think there's something so, I've never visited Austin, but I know a thing or two about it. And there's something that seems so Austin-y about the visual culture that you guys present.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I love Austin so much. It's just the creative community here is like top notch. Everybody's just so involved and like wanting to make everything like the best it can be, and just so many like great ideas for things that have never been done. And yeah, it's nice to be able to have that like wealth of knowledge in the city to create something like Tifos that are just so iconic and recognizable.
Yeah, I think that's a good transition into starting to talk about the TIFOs and the TIFO process. From the outside, yeah, it kind of seems like, oh yeah, look how cool, look, this like banner is going up and it's exciting and then it's coming down. But anybody who's worked on a creative project knows, like the enormity of work that goes into even the smallest, most ephemeral blip of art. So
Yeah.
how does it start? Let's start from the beginning of what goes into designing and developing and executing a TIFO.
Yeah, well, we'll have like a TIFO kind of brainstorming meeting with Los Verdes, supporter group I'm in, and then we, extend the call out to the other supporter groups if they want to join. So it kind of starts there, and we have like a TIFO leads committee, which I'm on. There's like 18 of us, I think.
Oh, wow,
So
okay.
we're like the ones that kind of run it. Yeah. So we kind of jot down everyone's ideas and like talk about, a schedule coming up, like when would be a good time for this TIFO and all that jazz. So after that's kind of done.
And how do you decide, like, what are the moments where you decide are a good moment for a TIFO?
I mean, like when you're playing certain teams that are like a rivalry team, you want to kind of show up for them. Also, just like we don't want to burn out our volunteers, so we kind of separate them like a month and a half at a time.
Okay, yeah.
So because they're a lot of work, and yeah, we all like have jobs and stuff too. So it's like don't want to burn everybody out. I know. But yeah, so we just we come up with the ideas, and then the leads and whoever wants to kind of be involved in the next TIFO, we kind of brainstorm ideas, and we'll have an artist. Like I've been an artist on 2 of them, and then we have other artists in the community. The Willie Nelson one, you saw that.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
Was that was for his birthday,
one,
right?
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was very
cool.
cool.
That was fun. And then the Pride TIFO we did, I think that was in June, late June. It was the Marsha P. Johnson one.
Oh, that one's beautiful.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that one was done with 2 other people, Jesse and Fergie, who was their first TIFOs too. So it's really cool to work with them and collaborate and all that.
All right, so being the artist of a TIFO, what does that look like? Like,
oh man, it's a lot. I mean, I kind of, for Willie, that was the one that I did just like design myself. So I'll kind of talk about that one a little more. But
okay.
I worked in the community with a couple other people that were interested in doing the Willie TIFO, and kind of drew up an initial design, and then we kind of went back and forth on like edits and making it a little easier, because I'm again like a fine artist, like a super hyper realism, so like doing anything kind of paint by number for me is difficult. So
I can see that, but you have to though, because
down.
You have to do a little bit of paint by number because that's how it gets done, right?
Totally, and we have the families and kids come out and paint, so we gotta make it easier for them and everything. So so it's just a lot of refining down the design and kind of getting everyone's feedback. And then we have a meeting where we kind of kick off and lay out our like timeline, like we're gonna sew, and then we're gonna kind of grid the thing and trace it, which is a whole that's a whole thing in itself. That's probably the hardest part.
Do you do that
it's just like gridding.
Do you just do that only by the grid, or do you project it at all?
Yeah. No, these are too big to project, so we do the grid.
Generally. Oh wow!
If we're doing smaller ones like 20 by 20, we can project, but Willie was like, I think 50 by 50, no, 55 by 55.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that like in the wide shots in the stadiums, you don't really get an idea of how big it is. Because the scale is like a little bit abstracted, but if you look at your behind the scenes photos and you see somebody standing in the middle of one like with a paintbrush and you're like, oh my goodness, that thing is huge, because they really are just like murals that could be on the side of a city building, but they're
totally
soft and mobile. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, they're so fun to work on, and yeah, when I was doing like tracing Willie, it's just like amazed how big it was. I'm like, oh my God, this is like insane. Um, but it's worth it. It's fun. So, but yeah, we do that. We grid and trace, and then we kind of put our call out to volunteers. We have hundreds of volunteers come out, like I said, families and like little kids, and it's a great way to kind of meet people in your community. Like that's how I've met most of the people in the supporter groups is through Tifo.
Wow.
And yeah, it's cool seeing people like, after the Tifo's raised and they're like, I painted that part, and
Oh.
just like excited about it. So yeah, it's fun.
That is fun. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
Willie one right now. What did you do for his sunglasses?
So that was actually a fabric that was like mirrored.
Wow.
And we like Velcroed it on at the end. Because we were originally just going to paint it black, but then we're like, well, it'd be kind of cool if it like mirrored, and if people could even see themselves in it, that'd be cool. So yeah, we got that fabric and cut it out and kind of Velcroed it on the last day. So
That is so cool. It's amazing how you can pivot like that too in your design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's so many creative minds and like such good ideas that it makes that process easier to be able to pivot, because people, so many different ways of doing things and ideas, and yeah, it's a great group.
That's so cool. And so you're best friends with Willie Nelson, right?
I wish, in my mind. Yeah. Yeah. No, Willie's awesome.
Have you met him?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I wish.
Oh.
No. Yeah. That'd be nice.
Yeah, the celeb scene in Austin is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're done with the painting process, what happens next? Like, and do you have to transport it? Where are you painting it?
Well, that's like one of the other hard parts is we don't have like a set space right now. So for Willie, we painted it at the stadium, like underneath the supporter section, like in the loading docks.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the Marcia Tifo, we rented out like a warehouse and painted it in like 4 days there, and it was no AC. It was hot.
Oh my God.
It was like brutal.
Oh man,
So brutal.
And it's been a hot summer too.
Oh yeah, it's been brutal.
So this isn't just for fun. This is blood, sweat, and tears go into these people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, literally. I've had like my fingernail ripped off. There's definitely been blood on a Tifo for sure. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, we paint it, at the stadium or whatever, and then we'll have a practice, usually like 2 days before the game, where we'll go to the stadium and we'll get the net out and kind of stretch it out, raise the net by itself, just, to make sure it's all stretched and everything. Mm-hmm. And then bring it out. And then like that night, we usually have like 50 people there at least helping on the practice nights.
Okay.
So we'll kind of get the Tifo out and stretch it out and zip tie it to the net, and then practice raising it, and hopefully don't encounter any issues.
What happens if there are issues?
Sometimes we do.
That's when you lose your fingernails.
Yeah, I mean, so the first one we did this year, the artist was Fabian Ray, who's amazing. And that Tifo was like 100 feet by 60 feet. It was huge.
Yeah, that one was huge. I know the one you're talking about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like these things have like at least 3 layers of paint on them, so they're very, very heavy.
Okay.
And
what's the material, like the canvas material that you're painting on?
It's just a regular like cotton fabric.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
And they sell it in bolts that big, right?
Yeah. No, we usually we'll have a night where we're sewing, and we have like an industrial sewer guy that comes out with his machine, and then the volunteers just kind of like help hold the fabric and pull it through, and we just do like, however many panels of that. It takes a few hours. And
I'm imagining the process of cutting it out too at the end, because these aren't just square. Like your Willie Nelson one has a lot of details. Is this a weed smoke cloud behind him?
He sure is, yeah. And the legalized Verde on the bandana, yeah.
Oh, man.
It was a little innuendos, yeah. I like that MLS like announcers guys were like, "Oh, it's a thought bubble." I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
No, it's not.
Sure it is.
Have you ever seen a thought bubble that shape with that amount
I know.
of like highlighting? No.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so it's fun. But yeah, I mean, we'll have like the Fabian's Tifo, like it during practice, it ripped. So we were there for like, I think we were there till like midnight or 1 a.m. or something, like trying to rig it. And yeah, so it didn't rip on game day. So we fixed it and it went up great.
Woo.
But
how big of a rip?
I mean, it wasn't that big, but I definitely heard it. For that one, I was like helping pull the ropes. So I was at the very top of the supporter section stands. And like I was pulling, I just hear like this terrible sound. I'm like, oh my God. And then, you know, everyone's saying, stop, you know, and then like, yeah, I'm just like, oh my God. But I mean, it was little, and then we brought it back down and ended up putting like PVC along the top to kind of balance the weight.
Wow.
And yeah, it was stressful, but it looked great. So
yeah, it looks fantastic. So worth it, right?
Worth it, totally. Yeah. And then like last year when we had we call it the Legends Tifo, it was the one against Inter Miami, and the one that kind of looked like a postcard.
Okay, yeah, the one, does it say Austin across it and then there's legends inside the letters?
Yeah, exactly. So like that one, it was really windy that day, and like we almost couldn't do it because I think we can't do it if it's over like 15 miles an hour or something like that. And we had already delayed it because it was supposed to be for the opening game, but the weather was really bad, so it was the second game. And then they were like, no, we can't do it, the wind is like too bad. And then it was like, it got to 15 miles per hour, and then they're like, okay, you have like a second to go. And so everybody everyone like did it, but like was doing it really fast, and the wind caught it, and like you can't tell unless you know what you're looking at, but there's like a little tear at the top because the wind just got it. But yeah, they're fun. They're stressful for sure. I have nightmares like before everyone.
I'm sure. It feels like it's almost like live theater, kind of.
Yeah.
Except for the whole theater is just the set. Or like the curtain.
Yeah.
It's like if theater was just the curtain pole.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh. So how many of these have you worked on then? You said you worked on every one? Or...
Yeah, I'm a Tifo lead, so like this year. So all of them this year I've worked on and helped lead with my other Tifo leads. And then I helped a little bit on Cincinnati's like early on. But this year's when I really like kind of started working a lot on them. And leading them and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. And had you like participated at all in like the group paint sessions for the previous seasons?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Come after that a little bit. But yeah.
And then of course you only have them, they go up for like 2 minutes and then they're down again, right?
Yeah.
Then does everyone just like clap and pat each other on the back and like, good job, guys?
Yeah. Basically, like we kind of get it off the net and then we all grab it like, you know, it's like a long hot dog or something, and then we carry it out into the hallway and then like put it in this little crate and then give each other high fives and go watch the game.
Go get a beer and watch the game. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
All right. And then like what happens to them after? Where do these go?
They live in our little storage unit right now. We have a storage unit and there's just like piles of Tifo. I mean, Cincinnati does things like they made tote bags out of theirs, which is cool.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I've seen other teams do like, they'll just kind of cut out parts of it and give it to people that worked on it and stuff like that. Cool. So we're still kind of deciding what we want to do with them, but for now they're in our storage unit. So.
That's very yeah, like the repurposing, because a lot of resources go into this, right? And I think that's one thing, especially with, I don't know, it seems like a lot of MLS groups are very progressive minded and like want their like being in a supporters group to mean something, whether it's like a pride banner or making sure everyone feels welcome in this space or doing stuff in the outside community. So yeah, that repurposing these things kind of, feels like it goes right along with that.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And like one of the things we're trying to get is like a designated Tifo space where we can paint and like consistently, you know, not have to like worry about where we're going to paint the next day. And so like we're thinking if we get like a warehouse, we can maybe hang it in there, hang some Tifos in there if it's big enough or whatever. So we're just kind of trying to figure it out right now, but we'll definitely be using them at some point and hopefully it'll be cool. I don't know.
It will be. If anybody can make something cool with their Tifos, it's you guys.
Yeah.
Like definitely the cool kids of the MLS. Yeah. I don't know. So like, I'm not sure the best way to phrase this question I have, but like, what's your ultimate goal here with doing the Tifos? It's just like something, because this is an enormous amount of work. Is it just about soccer or like what's going on?
I mean, there's different messages, you know, like for Pride Tifos and supporting LGBTQ community and just, I mean, we want to get our players hyped, obviously, but I think it's just more about like the community that we're building and making sure everyone's included and everyone kind of feels pride in what they created and seeing it up, even if it's just the 2 minutes, you know, you just feel like this immense sense of pride. Like, I had a small part in that. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Like the people I've met through Tifo, it's just, they're some of my best friends now and I love them all. They're great. And it's just, I think, mostly about community.
Yeah.
But I mean, we also have like political messages and little innuendos like legalize Verde and, you know, stuff like that. But
yeah, it's like always the question of is like what's first, the art or the community or the football? Is football first or is the community first? And that's one of these things that it's like can either exist successfully without the other in this case? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's all encompassing. Like it all works together.
So I have to ask, you guys do amazing work, but there's also some really amazing Tifos being produced in Europe, like these incredible animated mobile things.
Yeah.
And I have to ask you, like, what are your ambitions and goals and dreams? And is there anyone you look to across the pond?
I mean, yeah, there's so many good Tifos over there. Like one of my favorite is the Dortmund, like watching Yellow Wall Tifo. Dortmund does amazing Tifos. AC Milan does other like such good Tifos.
Yeah.
And then there was one, I think it was this year, that Schalke that did like the color change jersey where it went from like white to blue, which was awesome.
I'll have to look that one
up. So
up.
like just, yeah, it's cool. It's like, I think they used smoke and like kind of put it, they sewed like 2 panels of fabric and like put the smoke in the middle of the 2 panels and like made it look like it was changing color. I mean, it's awesome. Yeah, and then Zenit had like a cool COVID Tifo where they were like kind of squishing like the COVID, you know, little whatever
germ,
little virus. Yeah, exactly. And like, so they had like this green smoke come out at the same time, and then once the green smoke cleared, it like revealed a soccer ball instead. And yeah, it's just there's so many people with such good ideas and like. And how they like the European and Italy and like all them, how they just get like the entire stadium involved. And, I mean, we haven't done a stadium-wide Tifo yet. Well, they had one for the U.S. women's game, but that wasn't one like we coordinated or anything. But doing that, I think we want to get that on the horizon. You know, getting like a whole stadium to kind of be involved in the display would be cool.
Yeah. Well, I think the club has the support. Like,
Oh, totally.
it's, uh, yeah, you guys are, it's probably you're going to do it like next week, right?
Yeah, sure.
This is a teaser. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
sounds great. Yeah.
I look forward to what you guys pull off with that. Do you guys have anything coming up on the horizon for the next couple months?
Yeah, right now we're working on our Hispanic Heritage Month, Tifo.
Okay, and do you know when that one's going up?
We haven't decided a firm date, but it's either the end of September or I think like October 7th or something like that. I think maybe they're thinking against LAFC.
Okay.
But we haven't kind of firmed up that. We have our little, we have like our meeting on Tuesday about like finalizing all that, and then we'll get ready to sew and get going on it. But I'm excited for it. I've seen like the initial design and it's awesome. The artist is Marcos Morales, who's incredible.
All right.
And he designed the LV jerseys for this year that we just had. And he's awesome. So should be exciting. Look out for that.
Looking forward to that one. Here's a question just out of curiosity. For you guys, do you feel like you have a strong rival in the MLS that you're really, I mean, like, of course, LAFC after the Western Conference final last season, but do you have like a derby that you guys have?
Yeah, we have the Copa Tejas, which is the three Texas teams, Dallas and Houston and us. Last year we won it.
Congratulations.
This year thanks. This year it's a little I don't know if we're gonna win it this year. We were just in Dallas like last weekend. Was it last weekend? 2 weekends ago or something? And all we needed to do was like tie that game. We would have won it. But we gave up a goal in literally the last 10 seconds of stoppage time.
Oof.
And lost. So
I mean, like, Chicago brutal. Fire fans know how that feels too. So
it's sort of Cincinnati fans. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I think Fire and Austin are sitting at the same spot in their respective conference tables right now this week. So my heart is with you. Yeah.
And Chicago beat us in the Open Cup, right?
I think we did, but then, yeah, we didn't make it very far after that.
You guys have FC Cincinnati's like old goalie as your backup, who I love, Spencer Ritchie.
Yes, Richie. I call him Richie Rich.
But yeah, so our rivalry is like Houston and Dallas. Probably more so Dallas. But
all right.
Yeah, I mean, that was rough. That was a long ride back home after that game.
Sure. How long of a drive is that?
It's like almost 4 hours because it's in Frisco, which is not even in Dallas. It's like an hour outside Dallas. So we call them Frisco instead of Dallas because it's not Dallas. But yeah, that was a rough bus ride back for sure.
Oh man, but it just brings you closer together, right?
For sure, yeah. I'm like bringing my Cincinnati curse to Austin. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, so hopefully like we'll win the Copa Tejas. We still have like a small chance if when Houston and Dallas play, if they end in a draw, then we'll win.
Okay.
We'll see.
That's a real like Ted Lasso moment. Great. And you're keeping your playoff hopes alive too?
I mean, we're trying. We're right under the line now, so we'll see. We just got a draw last night in like the last 20 seconds of the game, which was good.
I watched the highlights from that. It looked really exciting.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it because we've been like giving up points in the last like 30 seconds the last two games, and so I was like, there's no way, and then we finally like crawled back, so that was good.
That's great. You gotta keep the hope alive.
We just need to get more wins, but yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Any highlights of your last 2.5 years in Austin that we missed?
No, I mean, I love it here. It's great. Best decision I ever made moving here. The city's awesome. The soccer, football culture is awesome. Everyone's just so welcoming and, just it's a huge family, and I love it. And with like, if anyone's going through a hard time, everyone's there to like pick each other up, and and help out and just completely like selfless way. And yeah, it's a great community here. I love it.
That's so great to hear. I love when journeys work out for people.
Yeah.
The end of this chapter can be a playoff qualification. And
Yeah, hopefully.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Beth. It's been a real pleasure talking with you. I can't wait to see the next Tifo you guys put out.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This is fun.
Thank you so much, Beth, for joining me on the podcast today. Good luck to Austin FC with the rest of your season. I'm looking forward to seeing that Hispanic Heritage Tifo come up in the next few weeks. We'll be back again next week with more talk about design and supporter culture in the world of football and soccer. So until then, go Leeds United.